Hey, what's going on, guys? It's me, JV. It's Friday, January the 28th, 2022, and here I am making another video. But this one is regarding the current off season or lack thereof because of the lockdown, because of the labor stoppage, and I'm talking about Major League Baseball. And I'm talking in particular about the A's off season and what we can expect them to execute over the next couple of months, assuming that we do have a baseball season in 2022. And basically, I actually made a video about a month ago regarding the hire of Mark Kotsay at the time, and I mentioned that, in my opinion, it was a good hire by the A's, considering that Kotsay knows the organization. He feels at home as an A. He feels that he belongs to the organization more so than the San Diego Padres, for example, where he played the majority of his career and had a lot of close ties to that organization. And I said that the A's over the next couple of years are going to really struggle. I think it's definitely going to be a rebuilding process for them. So I think the Kotsay move was the right one in my opinion. That being said, however, I do believe that the A's should go forward and they should rebuild the roster and stack their farm system as much as possible with talent, because as I mentioned in my previous video, I don't think this roster, as it's currently construed, is going to be good enough to compete for a championship. I think that the A's are just going to get worse instead of getting better with the current roster that they have. So might as well, I think this is a good time for them to start the rebuilding process. And hopefully in the next, 2 to 3 seasons, they'll be able to find the right mix of young and veteran players to the point where they can actually make another move toward a potential pennant. That being said, again, I am in favor of the rebuilding process. However, I don't want to see a repeat of what happened after the 2014 season, when the A's made the colossal mistake of trading Josh Donaldson essentially for nothing. That must have been, that might have been one of the worst trades Bean has ever made in his tenure as a general manager of the A's. I want to make sure that the A's, as a fan, I want to see them fleece another team of their top prospects. If they are going to make a trade, they need to make sure of this, because otherwise, if they get rid of these guys, the Olsons and the Chapmans and the Manayas and the Montas of the world, if they trade those guys away and they don't get the right prospects back, then the rebuilding process may not take 2 to 3 seasons. It might take even longer. It might take half a decade before the A's, can bounce back and become contenders again. And I'm reading on the internet, as I'm sure a lot of you A's fans that are watching this video, I'm reading about potential trades of guys like Olson and Chapman going to different teams, different destinations, whether it's Atlanta or Seattle or New York or Boston. I have no idea, obviously, and none of us do, where these players are going to wind up. But I do hope that Billy Bean and David Forst do make the right trades and they can get the best prospects that they can possibly get in return, because otherwise, like I mentioned, it's going to be a long road back to contention and formidability on the field. And the other thing that I wanted to say also was, the reason why I think it's a good time for the A's to rebuild is because I think they're going to get a new ballpark at some point over the next 3 to 4 years, whether it's in Oakland, whether it's in Las Vegas, and based on the latest news on the development of Howard Terminal, it looks like Oakland right now has the upper hand over Las Vegas, although I'm not going to be fully convinced until the new stadium breaks ground. I'm an old A's fan. I've seen how this team has tried for the last 20 years to build a new ballpark, and there's been a lot of promises that have been empty promises at the end. So I'm not going to hold my breath and say that the A's are for sure going to get a new ballpark until they break ground, whether it's, like I mentioned, Oakland or Las Vegas. But I do believe that at this point, it is going to happen. And if it does happen, more than likely that ballpark will be ready in about 3 to 4 years. And by that time, if they start the rebuilding process now and if they make the right moves, the A's might be moving into their new ballpark as a contending team. As a team that is going to be ready to hit the ground running. They'll be able to contend not just for the division, but also for the pennant. And so that's why I think that the time to rebuild is now, and not a couple of years ago. Even though a lot of these guys are still under control, they still have 2 more years under arbitration until they become arbitration eligible or they actually become free agents. I still do believe that because they are under team control for the next 2 seasons, that their trade value might be a little bit higher than if the A's wait until they become free agents. I think they would have more leverage if they make the trades now, and I think they can absolutely ask for a lot more prospects in return than if they wait for a couple of more seasons. So I think this is the time for the A's, like as I mentioned, if the right deals are available, if the A's can get the right prospects, then I think they ought to pull the trigger and make the trades. Now, obviously, as an A's fan, as any fan of any team in sports, obviously you don't want to see this happen. In a perfect world, you would like to see your team compete every single season. You would like to see your team, make an effort to try and re-sign their players. But as an A's fan, we all know, based on their track record, based on this ownership group's track record, we know that the A's are not going to re-sign these players. And so might as well trade them now, try to get something in return as far as top prospects is concerned, rather than see them walk away as free agents, as we've seen previous superstars walk away, like Giambi after 2001, or Tejada after 2002, or Barry Zito after 2006. The A's got absolutely nothing. They only got a compensation pick, I guess. But obviously they could have gotten a lot more if they would have traded these guys away. But I think it was the right move at the time that the A's didn't trade any of these players, because the A's obviously were in contention and they were making a run at the World Series, and their window of opportunity was wide open at the time. But in the current 2022 Oakland A's roster, as I mentioned earlier, as it's currently construed, I don't think they are good enough to make a run at a championship. I think they have too many holes, and so the best thing that they can do is make those trades. So anyway, that's basically the reason why I wanted to make this video. Just give my 2 cents as a die-hard A's fan. I've been a fan since 1990, the last time that they were in the World Series, and I've been following this team religiously, really, since then. Through the ups and downs, through the good times and the bad times. As an A's fan, we've suffered a lot. We've been dragged through the mud a lot. We've been disrespected by the Bay Area market. And so, we've been through a lot, but, I just wanted to give my opinion, and hopefully, like I mentioned, being enforced, don't screw up these trades, and they can get the maximum value in return for these guys. Because I know that for a fact that it's inevitable that they're going to start the rebuilding process. Anyway, if you like my content, you can always subscribe to the channel. It's a brand new channel. I just started it last month. For those of you that are watching for the first time, I talk about a variety of different topics. I talk about travel. I'm actually in Mexico City right now. I am born and raised Oakland native. I live in the Bay Area, and I love to travel. That's one of my main hobbies, and right now I'm actually traveling in Mexico City, but I talk about that. I talk about sports, and I talk about a variety of different topics regarding life itself. So I would really appreciate it, like I mentioned, if you can support the channel by subscribing, by liking the videos, and also by sharing if you can. That would go a long way in helping me grow this channel. Till the next video, thank you very much for watching, and go A's!